Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Definitely hoping we have better success with part 2 of week 2. So welcome everyone. This is my weekly thing I've started called Self-Care for Healthcare. So it's a yoga practice meant for anyone who's working in healthcare, or maybe you are in another essential role or service and you just need to find a practice, a way to feel calm and settled in your own body and your own mind, especially as we work through the challenging times in this pandemic. So I made this specifically because I feel like a lot of people where I work were asking often what's going to help me with back pain or hamstring or hip pain. And so I'm hoping that slowly over time we can build week by week and progress and find some relief in our bodies and hopefully some relief in our minds as well. So for today we will start in a seated position. I have just under my seat a block. So if you have a yoga block, or maybe you want to use a pillow, rolled up blanket or something to help you find your seat, just find your way into a nice comfortable position that allows you to sit up nice and tall. And usually you want to get your knees just a little bit lower than the hips, and that'll just help you find that expansion through the chest and lengthen the spine. And whenever you're ready, your hands can just start at the thighs, or maybe if you'd like, you can bring one hand to heart center, one hand to your belly. And even if it feels okay for you, perhaps you start by taking in a big, deep breath in, and a big sigh out. Just allow yourself to arrive to this place on your mat. Maybe you can close your eyes and just experience what it feels like to be in your body right here and now. Can you feel the movement of your breath rising through the chest into the belly? Feel the slow softening and release as you breathe out. Can you allow your shoulders to relax? Your tongue to perhaps relax to the roof of your mouth? Can you imagine that space in between the eyes softening? Just letting go of the day, of the week, what has passed, what is to come. And just acknowledging how you feel just in this present moment. Perhaps this week you start to find your way to an equal length breath, also known as your Samavrti breath. Finding an inhale through the nose and an exhale out the nose. Starting to find a nice long inhale again, counting it out. And finding that same count of breath out through the nose. Can you find a steady breath, an even, calm pace of breath that can guide you through your practice today? Just take a few more rounds of that breath. When you're ready, you can start to open the eyes. Maybe just bring your hands to your thighs or your knees again. From here, we'll just find some movement through the spine. So start to see if you can wiggle in one direction. And then see if you can find a wiggle in a circle in another direction. Then come back to the center, find that tall seat again. Can you draw the belly in and keep the chest open, shoulders relaxed and down. Left hand can just come beside you, just behind the left hip to your side. As you inhale, draw right hand all the way up. As you exhale, start to see if you can find a side bend, reaching the right fingers all the way to the left. Can you feel the right hip continuing to ground down? And that right shoulder pulling back, maybe drawing away from the ear. Reach the fingers. Inhale, come back through center, and we'll just switch sides. Right hand comes beside right hip behind you. Left hand can reach up. And as you exhale, side bend to your right. Stay grounded in the hips. Can you pull the chest through? Maybe you'd like to bring your gaze up towards your fingers. Inhale, come back into the center of the mat. And from here, we'll start to draw both the hands up towards the sky. And as you exhale, find a twist to bring the chest forward, keeping the hips level forward as you find a twist to the left. And then the right hand can come outside of left thigh as left hand comes to the ground behind you. Can you continue to sit tall? Stay broad in chest and breathe out. Feel that belly draw in. Allow you to twist a little further with your exhale. One more breath. Inhale, come back through center, hands reach up. And as you exhale, turn to the right and see if you can bring left hand outside of the left or right thigh as right hand reaches behind you. Find that length in the spine. Breathe out, twisting out as you exhale. Can you relax the shoulders down? Inhale, come back up through center. And from here, we'll just start to reach both the fingers and all the hands all the way up towards the sky. And then as you're ready, bend the right elbow. See if you can bring your right hand just behind you at your neck or maybe at the upper back. And left hand can kind of help pull that right arm up and try to bring the elbow up towards the ceiling. Feeling a bit of a shoulder stretch here. And maybe you feel it into the arms. Maybe you're able to sit up nice and tall here. So notice if this arm starts to pull you forward. Can you continue to draw length to the spine? Breathe here. And then release. We'll just switch. So left elbow bends, elbow facing up towards the sky as the left hand comes behind your neck. And maybe that right hand helps draw it upwards a little more, opening up through the front of the arm. And as you're ready, we can start to release. Bring your palms down towards your thighs and then just allow them to get placed forward on top of your mat. You can start to roll over the knees or find whatever way you can into your tabletop. So tabletop allows your hands to come underneath the shoulders and the knees to come underneath the hips. We're going to work our way into a down dog, but see if you can first find this nice long spine in tabletop. Crown of the head is trying to reach forward as you look directly down, just past your fingertips. And your tailbone draws towards the back of the mat. Can you find a little tuck of the belly? Draw that belly button up and in. And then keep pressing down through the fingers, separating the fingers out nice and wide, and then tucking the toes. So to press the ground away from you, and as you inhale, maybe you lift the knees just an inch off the mat. Can you keep the length in the spine? Just hold here for a breath. And then as you exhale, lift up the tailbone up towards the ceiling as you start to lengthen out the legs and find your first downward facing dog. So in this down dog, you're going to try to keep the knees bent as much as you need so that you can let that tailbone reach up nice and high behind you. If you feel like you need a lot of support, you can bend the knees a lot. Or if you feel like you want to add in a little bit of lengthening and hamstring stretch, you can start to let the heels come down on the mat. If it feels good, you can pedal out your feet, straightening one leg while bending the other. And from this downward dog, we'll just start to walk our hands towards the back of the mat, towards our feet. Once we get there, find again a bend into the knees. Let your belly rest to the thigh. And see if you can start to lift the tailbone up towards the sky. As your arms dangle in front of you, maybe you bend the elbows. And let the head and the shoulders rest here. Maybe if you need to relax through the neck, you can shake your head yes. You can shake your head no. Allow gravity to help you release through the shoulders. Let the spine try to get long here. Maybe you find slight shift of weight, coming a little bit more weight onto the toes, slightly less into the heels as you try to really reach that tailbone up behind you. Whenever you're ready, you can inhale, find a half lift. Hands can come to the shins or the thighs. Can you get nice and long through the spine? And then as you exhale, bend the knees again. Let the belly rest at thighs. Hands can come down. So you might need to bend your knees a lot to rest the hands on the mat. And see if you can start to widen out the legs slightly. So we're going to take a little bit of a wider fold here. As you inhale, head lifts up halfway. And then from here, start to turn the toes out just a little bit towards the sides of the mat. Heels draw in slightly. And we'll slowly start to sink our hips down, bend the knees, sink our way into a yogi squat. So in this yogi squat, there's lots of variations you can choose. If you need to sit up higher, that's okay. If you need to come onto heels, that's wonderful too. Sometimes it might help you to bring something underneath your seat to support you as well. Wherever you are, can you keep the chest open? Press the palms into each other and try to see if you can use the strength in your glutes to help keep the knees nice and wide. Feeling into the inner hips here. And as we exhale, hands can release back down. You can slowly hinge forward and let the legs lengthen out into that forward fold once more. As you inhale, find your half lift again. And this time, heel toe the feet back together. And keep your knees bent if you need to, as much as you need to have fingertips to the mat. And then from here, just step your right foot behind the left foot. So all the toes are pointing in one direction and the pinky toes are beside each other. Keep a bend into the knees if you have to. Find a one breath, let your spine get long. And as you exhale, maybe you can hinge over the legs and start to feel a little bit into the hamstring. So the outer right hip should have some sensation. As you inhale, head lifts. And then from here, just unravel the legs. Step your right foot back beside the left and we'll switch sides. So left foot comes behind right. All the toes point forward, pinky toes beside each other. Find inhale, imagine that spine lengthening like it does in your half lift. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold over the legs, finding the IT bend, stretch second side. Inhale, lift up halfway. Unravel the legs once more. And from here, we'll just allow ourselves to step the hands forward into our downward facing dog. And with an inhale, this time we'll walk the feet forward to meet in between the palms at the top of the mat. As you inhale, rise up. Hands can reach up if you want. You can follow up with your gaze. And exhale, release the hands down to your heart center. And then bring them beside your hips. So we're going to find our first standing balance, our warrior one, or a standing lunge. So from here, really see if you can press the feet down into the mat, get nice and strong through the legs. Hands can start at the hips. And keep your gaze looking forward, nice and long through spine. And we'll just take a big step back with the left foot. You're going to want to stay high on the back toes, and that left heel is going to kick away from you. At the same time, right knee will bend, knee will come over the ankle. You're going to find some grounding through that foot, so the right hip tries to pull itself back in, while the left hip tries to pull itself forward, keeping your hips level forward. Belly draws in, chest stays open, and maybe from here, hands stay at heart center or at the hips, or maybe you'd like to bring your hands up towards the sky, finding yourself in this warrior lunge. Can you imagine that long spine again? Tailbone drawing down. And from here, we're going to find ourselves into a slow lower into a low lunge. So as you're ready, can you let that left knee slowly come down to a hover and then down onto the mat? Hands can come down, frame right leg. And then we're going to start to pull ourselves back into a half split. So right toes will flex up, heel will ground down, press the right hip back as the left hip comes over the left knee. Find yourself into a hamstring stretch here. Can you find a nice long breath? Imagine the crown of your head again reaching forward. As you exhale, finding a hinge at the hips, drawing yourself over that right leg. Now this can be a quite intense place to be. Maybe you need to keep a nice bend into the knee. Maybe you need blocks or something to help you come up higher so you have space if you feel like the ground's too far away from you. Just find that place where you can maintain that steady breath that you began with. And as you're ready, inhale, lift back up. Start to walk your hands forward, frame the right leg. And from here, we'll tuck the back left toes, lift the back knee. Rise up, find a lunge here. Shoulders come over the hips. And maybe you can step yourself forward. Woo. It's okay if it's wobbly. Coming back to standing. Maybe you need to shake it out of the legs. Second side. So as you're ready, find a nice big step back, right leg. Get high through the back toes, press the right heel away. Start to bend into that left knee and draw the hips so they square forward. Chest stays open, maybe gaze looks forward, maybe hands reach up. You find that strength in the legs. Imagine the inner thighs trying to squeeze in towards each other. Belly drawing in, letting that tailbone come down. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, slowly lower, let that right knee come to a hover before you let it down onto the mat. Frame left leg, we'll set ourselves up into that low lunge variation and into our half splits. Left toes will flex up, heel will ground down. We'll try to draw that left hip back. Find an inhale to draw the crown of the head forward and an exhale to hinge at the hips. Modify or use something underneath your hands if you need that space. Try to maintain a steady breath and work with the sensation and just notice how it can change with every inhale and every exhale. And when you're ready, slowly rise back up. Walk the hands towards the top left foot. And from here, come through the fingertips. Raise that back knee. Rise up into your lunge. And step back to standing. Walk it out, shake it out if you need. Like Taylor Swift likes to say, shake it off. And as we're ready, we'll slowly come down onto our mat. So we'll just use a little bit of strengthening here. So you can start by bringing your feet about hip-width distance apart. Really ground the feet down. And see if you can almost imagine like your feet want to press away while your inner thighs squeeze in. Belly draws in. So imagine those low ribs magnetized to your pelvis. So you're feeling that tuck through the center. Chest stays open. And from here, hands can reach forward or reach up. See if you can find that strength in the legs. Keep them active as you slowly start to find a bend into the knees, sink down into a little bit of chair pose here. And just stay for a breath. And then as you're ready, you can exhale, slowly sink down, find your way to your seat. Maybe you use your hands, maybe you don't. Let your bum come down. And from here, we'll let the feet go long on the mat. Flexing the toes back, so really feel them pull in towards you. Finding strength through the legs. Maybe you find a little bend in the knees. Can you continue to sit tall? Keep the chest open, belly drawing in. And then as you exhale, hinge at the hips. Lead your heart towards your shins. Maybe walk your hands on the legs. Can you find length in the spine and try to avoid rounding until you get as far forward as you can. And then as you're ready, you can release. Maybe let the head, let the shoulders rest into a forward fold. And know it's okay if you stay a bit more upright. It's okay if you just stay with hands on the shins. If you feel a little bit of sensation through the back of the legs, then that's perfect. You might need to deepen the bend into the knees if you're feeling it into the low back. And see if you can just breathe for a few more breaths. And whenever you're ready, you can inhale, come back up, sit tall. And from here, you can slowly lower, come down onto your back. Allow your arms and legs to come out as wide as you prefer. Maybe take one big deep breath in. One big sigh out. Let your body rest in your corpse pose, Shavasana. Letting go of any control in your breath, in your body. And you let yourself relax and just allow yourself to be still here. Notice if it's easier to stay still than maybe it would have been at the beginning of this little practice. If it's easier to just stay focused on the present moment, or if it's a little harder, then that's okay too. Can you give yourself the opportunity to find this place of stillness? And even if your mind or your body carries you away with thoughts or with movement, can you try to come back here? Even for one breath. Find that place of stillness. Stay here as long as you need. And whenever you're ready to rouse and get back up again, you can start by deepening your breath. And invite movements to your fingers, to your toes, to your wrists and your ankles, to your elbows, your knees. Maybe it feels good to turn your head side to side and massage out the back of the head. And maybe from here you bring your hands to heart center. And just thank your body, thank your breath for guiding you. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank you so much for letting me share this practice with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I hope everyone who joined enjoyed that. It was really fun. I'm glad that this time I think my Instagram Live worked. I'm going to try to save this onto my page, and I'll also try to get it onto my YouTube. So thank you again. Have a great day.